This is Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.
A growing challenge that dealers have faced for decades is identity theft and fraud. And as technology grows more sophisticated today, so do the hackers. In this first part of a three-part series with Aura and Mosaic Compliance Services, we'll be discussing identity theft and fraud further, along with how Aura and Mosaic Compliance Services formed a partnership as a real value to the retail automotive community. Joining us now is Scott Hudson, Senior Vice President of Partnerships for Aura. And Aura has partnered with Jim Ganther, who is a co-founder and CEO of Mosaic Compliance Services. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Sure. Yeah. So let me start with you, if I can, Scott. Talk to us first and foremost about this very issue of identity theft. Sure. and things that are going on out there. We hear about it all the time. Every single dealership out there is afraid they're going to get hit with some sort of a problem, and it could be a lawsuit. We'll talk about
Absolutely.
that in a minute. But talk to us about that.
Well, think about it. I mean, it's happening at all. It's happening not only in automotive. It's happening everywhere. But specifically in automotive, somebody goes and tries to do a test drive.
Yeah.
Well, they use a fake ID.
That's right.
They get the car's gone.
Yep.
They've lost it.
Happens all the time.
They get into the F&I office. They use a fake ID. They use fake documentation. They get the loan process. They leave with the loan.
Right.
Somewhere down the line, a consumer was impacted.
That's right.
And ultimately, the dealer is, because that's going to unwind.
That's right.
So that creates significant, but it goes even further. Now, car theft. Mm-hmm. People are stealing cars out of your driveway, mm-hmm. out of a parking lot. Think about the information that's in the car. My son just bought a car.
Yeah.
Dealer handed him his packet of paperwork.
Yeah.
Credit app.
Oh, yeah.
Copy of his insurance paperwork.
Yep.
All of his applications.
That's right.
Think about what else is in that glove compartment. Think if I get a hold of somebody's key fob. If I get your key fob right now, I can go out and find your car.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I can start the car.
Yeah.
I can hit the home button. It'll tell me how to get home. I can
That's
hit
right.
your
Didn't
contacts.
think about that.
If your garage door is connected, the car is now becoming a vehicle.
That's right. It's kind of like your cell phone. It's almost like it's the next best thing to your cell phone, right?
It's a device on wheels.
That's right.
And so we need to begin to think about not only traditional theft, but the emerging theft of how people can not only use the car to commit much broader fraud.
Yeah.
And my boss bought a sports car in Charlotte, used car. He gets in, turns it on. The guy said, well, it belonged to someone famous.
Right.
He hits it, and the car belonged to Jeff Gordon. The reason he knew it was Jeff Gordon is because Jeff Gordon's contacts and information and wife and phone numbers. And
wow.
That's how scary it is. That car is a device with wheels.
That's right.
What are we doing to protect ourselves? So this is the problem that we're all faced with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's not a dealer out there, I don't think, that's been affected by this in some way. Some larger than others,
Absolutely.
Right? But I don't know of a dealer where something like this hasn't happened.
No, absolutely.
Right? We're all touched by it in the business.
Then the reputational risk, because it's going to get in the newspaper or it's going to be on local TV.
That's right.
That someone was impacted by a dealer not properly doing something.
Yeah.
And someone getting a car in their name. And now that person's financially ruined. And I've seen example after example. So taking care and better protecting consumers is good for business.
Yeah, for sure.
Not only from all the risk.
Yeah. Can I jump in on that
please.
reputational risk?
Absolutely.
Because we had a large dealer group that was hacked. Mm-hmm. They did a brilliant job of following the safeguards rule. Mm-hmm. They detected the breach within 5 minutes. They shut it down within 30. No data was lost. Mm-hmm. They still got sued in a class action lawsuit.
No kidding. Wow.
And all of the coverage in the news was this group that everybody had heard of had been hacked and had been compromised. Nobody went past the headlines to the fact that they did everything right.
Yeah.
No one was harmed.
Sure.
And it was because they followed the rules.
Right.
So even if you do everything right and you are the victim, you still suffer the reputational damage.
That's right. That's right. And right now, that's big because people are going to think twice about now going to that dealership and saying, oh, I don't want to, even though they got great deals or I've been going to them for years, this is a different story, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. I don't want my information to get out there on the internet
and misused.
Do you think their local competitors are going to suggest that you go with those guys, your identity may be at risk? Just saying.
That's right. That's right. And this is very big business. There's been a couple of companies out there, auto groups that have been hacked, and they've been ransom. Hey, you got to pay us X number of dollars, or we're going to turn you off. And it's been a real problem, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, you probably see it from your perspective, right?
Yes, we do. And it is not a sometimes thing. It is a very common thing.
Yeah.
And our experience with dealers is when it happens, we have clients who've simply paid the ransom and moved on. Let's just keep this quiet.
Yeah.
Say, okay, let's keep it quiet, but let's fix it so it never happens again.
That's right, because they're probably going to come back around again, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's right.
You've proven yourself
if the door's
to be
open,
vulnerable.
If there's a hole in the door, they're coming back through it again.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
so.
What problems does this create for consumers?
Well, it's a massive problem for consumers. So think about, I don't know if you've personally been a victim of identity theft.
I haven't.
Not
Not yet.
I
Not yet. I almost feel like it's about to come.
I recently was a victim of check fraud. Someone stole a fairly sizable check through the mail.
Oh my gosh.
Cashier's check.
Wow.
Mailed. Took 10 months to get my money back. Fortunately, Aura, my service, was there to help guide me through the process on what to do, and ultimately there's some insurance. But fortunately, it was money I inherited. Imagine if that was someone that needed that money for a down payment on their house or to pay a bill to not lose their house.
That's right.
And this happens every single day.
Yeah.
And people are doing that. It's just the number of examples are just rampant. And unfortunately, we've all become spoiled because if we have a credit card, you said you had a fraudulent credit card charge. What do? You pick up the phone, call it. They take
now I have had those.
Yeah,
those exist.
But all they do is they just take it away.
Right.
But when someone's collecting Social Security in your name or collecting your unemployment check,
that's right,
or someone has done X, Y, or Z to you, you just don't pick up the phone and it goes away.
That's right.
It takes months or years and legal support and others to unwind it, and it can literally devastate families. And here's the scariest one: people will actually add a child as a co-signer to a car loan,
right,
so that they can establish credit. Then they go and abuse that credit, and then that poor kid goes off to college and applies for a student loan and is denied access.
Yeah.
It is tearing at every level, every socioeconomic level as well.
Yeah. No question about it.
It's a horrible problem.
So Mosaic and Aura come together to help dealers and buyers combat the growing problem of identity theft. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So he'll talk more about the compliance sides, but specifically what we believe, as does he as the expert in the category, is dealers should use compliance as a competitive advantage, not as a burden. Why not provide every shopper that comes in that provides some level of PI, not buyer, just shopper, some level of protection as my dealership takes your data seriously.
Right.
And Aura will provide that to the dealer at no cost.
Yeah.
As long as they follow our regular program.
Okay.
Then the recommended program is give every car buyer that buys 1 year of Aura's full coverage, which is a VPN and antivirus. I can go through all the different features, but it manages your whole suite of protection.
Sure.
And then you then have the ability to extend that coverage in F&I at a significantly reduced rate. You can go to Aura.com and see what it costs.
Okay.
I can buy it at a 50, 60% discount right there in the F&I, roll it into the loan, and now I'm able to enhance the coverage, extend it, as well as extend it to all my family members.
Okay.
So it's a win-win because now the dealer is showing a proactive stance to help protect consumers. Two, they're able to make money. That pays for a lot of things, but also will pay for all of the services that Jim provides that they're required to do to remain compliant with the various legislations we'll talk about in a minute.
Okay, Leah, let's jump right in. Where do you pick up on this?
Well, we partnered with Aura because they do something that every dealer needs, and our interest was originally piqued because of the red flags rule. George Carlin had his 7 words. I have mine. The red flags rule has 7 requirements, which I've reduced to 7 words. Policy, training, detect, prevent, mitigate, oversee, and ensure. And that mitigation prong has been honored in the breach throughout the industry. How do you mitigate the impact of identity theft at or through your dealership?
Right.
Well, it's a little bit like health insurance. You can either go naked and save $1,500 a month, whatever it is, to get health coverage these days.
Right.
And then when you get hit, get $1 million bill. Or you can pay every month your health insurance, and when it happens, it's covered.
Right.
The sensible thing is to do it on the insurance.
Yeah, of course.
Pay a little bit every month.
Sure.
And so we partnered with Aura so that every consumer, not customer, every shopper, not every buyer, gets identity theft protection simply because, Mr. Customer, You gave us your non-public personal information. You gave us your driver license before a test drive. You filled out a credit application, whether you buy or not.
Wow, that's interesting.
Oh yeah. Now we have an obligation to protect as a dealer your non-public personal information.
Because of that sharing of that information.
Because you gave it to us,
right.
we have to protect it.
Okay.
And part of that protection, part of the requirements under the red flags rule is to mitigate, and this is mitigation.
Okay.
But it's broader, and again, this is why we're partnered with Aura.
Sure.
It's broader than just the red flags rule or even the safeguards rule, which gives you far more obligations for how you protect the data. But if you sign up to the Aura program, you get the entire suite of Mosaic Compliance Services, which includes environmental health and safety, safeguards, variable ops, audit. Everything that we do, bumper to bumper, stem to stern, soup to nuts, comes with this. So yes, we do take care of red flags and safeguards. We do take care of identities. We take care of everything else. So it makes it a tremendous value for the dealer, and it can turn compliance from an expense to a profit center.
Right, and compliance with most dealers is one of that thorn in the side. That's I gotta, I'm running my dealership. I'm, hiring. I'm firing. I'm selling cars. I'm taking them in on trade. I'm fixing them, and compliance isn't always at the top of the list, right? So dealers, in a lot of cases, don't even know what they don't know. I know when I was a dealer, I didn't know a lot of these things that I would be reminded by a compliance person that comes in. Are you doing this? I don't know. Are we doing that?
Probably not.
Right? Probably not if we don't know, right?
I don't sell cars, and dealers should probably focus on what they do best.
That's right.
Let them move the iron. There is a reason why we don't make our own light bulbs. Dealers typically have a vendor for lead generation. They have a vendor for their website.
That's right.
Have a vendor for your compliance. Doesn't have to be Mosaic. We have competitors. But the fact that there is an industry that we're a part of means that there's value there. Let us take care of the compliance. You're still ultimately responsible. But if you are ultimately responsible, have somebody strong in your corner.
Yeah, no question about it. And if you are responsible and you don't have somebody in your corner, then they're just going to eat you alive to say you don't even care about this area.
You didn't take any steps.
You didn't do any due diligence in protecting your consumers or the dealership.
Yeah, you'd be a sitting duck.
Yeah, you really would be. There's no question about it. And this problem is only getting worse every year. It's not getting better, right?
Correct.
I mean, we continue to hear of the problems out there.
I mean, there's legislation. There's current legislation, pending legislation, and God knows what's. And he can share tons of details.
That's right. That's right. There was a story about a dealer group, and this happens all over the country, but a dealer group, successful dealer group down in Miami, where the individuals coming in and buying cars under false identity, and it wasn't just one or two; it was like 7 or 8 vehicles, and it was a ring, going on, and then they found out that it was even some people on the inside of the dealership that was helping that process, and of course the dealer was just out there without any kind of protection at all, and it's too late. It's like getting health insurance after you find out you've got cancer, right? And it's like, good luck, right? But same kind of thing here. I think it opened the eyes of a lot of dealers that read that story in automotive news that went, whoa, what if this happens to me, right?
And then the reputation, that hit the newspaper. So it hit
to
the local news.
Right.
It's like it's going to kill that dealership. And then causes consumers to become more cautious.
That's right.
Which is why those that are more proactive can use this to their advantage to say, hey, we take this seriously.
That's right. That's right. Scott Hudson, Senior Vice President of Partnerships for Aura and Jim Ganther, who's the co-founder and CEO of Mosaic Compliance Services. Thank you both for joining us here on Driving Solutions at CBT News. In our next segment, we'll be discussing legislation and compliance. Stay tuned for that. These are the kinds of solutions we want to be bringing you here at CBT News. This is a very hot topic that is not going away. So thanks so much for tuning in, and make sure that you tune in to our next series. Thanks.
Thanks for watching Driving Solutions, exclusively on CBTNews.com.